July. Now, DP at the ticket, he just won't let me do that with the ticket. So I can't just take 2 months off from here at the 93.7 The Ticket. Check them out at theticket.com, Facebook, the tube of you, and Twitter as well. All right, so this is a special edition Carriker Chronicles for 93.7 The Ticket. That's part one. Part two, Jacob decided to play hooky today. That was Mom's decision, by the way. Mom came and asked me, she's like, because it's like an 8th grade celebration or whatever it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to rain, they're supposed to be at a football field and yada, yada, yada. And she's like, what if Jacob didn't go so he's not like freaking soaked all day? I was like, wow, our generation's getting soft. I'll leave the decision up to you. Alas, he is home playing hooky. Okay, and I'd like to say that we're super cool with our hats on backwards, but one of us decided not to comb their hair, Jacob. And me, well, I just wear hats backwards a lot, so I don't ever have to comb my hair.
Forehead.
Hide my forehead. Thank you. It's the back of the hair that I don't like and the thinning hair that I'm not a fan of. But thanks for pointing out the forehead too. Now I have another thing to be self-conscious about. But my son Jacob's going to be joining me today. So Jacob, how are you? And how are you feeling now that you are done with middle school, going to head into high school as a freshman next year?
You know, it feels weird. It feels like yesterday I was just like, man, what's middle school going to be like? And now I'm going into high school next year. It's crazy. It gets real fast.
So a couple of things. I'm going to embarrass you with this first thing. I still remember, and I remember all 6 of my kids, their first day of kindergarten, holding their hand, walking them up to their first day of school. I remember yours, okay? And I knew the day would come when they'd no longer want to hold my hand, and that day has come for Jacob a while ago, to be honest. Okay, so I remember that. All right. But when I was going into middle school, I remember, okay, this is just being full-blown wide open here, refusing to take a number 2 at the school because I was terrified as a 6th grader that the 8th graders were going to torment me while I was inside the stall. So for 2 years, I never took a number 2 at my middle school. Finally, when I was an 8th grader, I got up the courage, and sometimes when you got to go, you got to go. Did you ever have a dilemma like that, Jacob?
No, I don't think my school was run like yours.
Yeah.
So what if you had to go? Did you just hold it in? Did you wear a diaper? What happened there?
You know, sometimes you got to find a way. You just find a way.
Would you go in the bushes?
Not the bushes. You just find a way. All right. Now, on our list of topics here, we've got all sorts of topics. What we've talked about so far is nowhere near this topic sheet that we've got here. Okay. But before we dive into it, and I had a whole bunch of topics ready for today that I mentioned on yesterday's show here on the ticket. Some of those will be discussed. Some of those will be pushed off until Thursday or Friday, since Jacob is going to be able to join me today. A pleasant surprise. Some of the things we are going to talk about. Okay. So Jacob is a bit of a Michigan fan. Okay. Michigan and Nebraska, but a Michigan fan. So we're going to debate a little Nebraska versus Michigan this upcoming season, and who might have the brighter long-term future. Now that Harbaugh is gone and Matt Rule is here at Nebraska. Okay, talk a little bit about where teams rank in the Big Ten, the top 25, some difficult schedules in college football's top 25. Then we're going to talk about the Nuggets briefly, the defending champs getting upset at home, Game 7. I know, NBA basketball. Does Adam even know what that orange pumpkin smashing pounding sport is? I once had a parent describe it to me like that. Obviously, they did not like basketball. I was only coaching their son on my basketball team, so that was great to hear. We're going to talk about that, but we might even debate some of the best modern day NBA players and the greatest NBA players of all time. Yeah, we're going to go there. Jordan, LeBron, and why it's not even a debate. And then we're going to talk baseball. Jacob loves baseball. He loves the analytics. He loves the Moneyball side of baseball. Okay, so we're going to talk about, can you buy championships in baseball? How do you win in baseball? Also, how does that kind of correlate to the transfer portal and trying to buy championships, quote unquote, in college football? But before we dive into that, light that candle, as always, okay, here on the Carriker Chronicles, you can check out DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. You can call them at 402-612-7222. Again, that's 402-612-7222, especially if you're in the Omaha metro area. And if you do call, tell them the Carrikers sent you their way. Also, Bonsall Pool and Spa. You can check them out at bonsalpool.com. They have swimming pools, hot tubs, saunas, They can help you take care of your swimming pools, hot tubs, and saunas if you've already got them as well. All right, Jacob. So, Nebraska versus Michigan. All right, who's going to have the better season this year, in your opinion, and who's got the better long-term future? Let me preface a couple of things. So, Nebraska, I've mentioned this on this show numerous times, but just so we're all caught up to speed, Michigan not only lost their top 5 starting offensive linemen to the NFL, they lost their top 6. So their 5 starters and their next best offensive linemen. Okay, they lost their quarterback, first-round pick. They lost their head coach. They lost their strength coach, $1 million strength coach who was the secret sauce to their program, according to Jim Harbaugh. Numerous players on defense. Now, they lost their starting running back, but they got Donovan Edwards, who will step right in, okay, to help them at the running back position. Michigan also has a bit of a brutal schedule. Now, Fresno State coming to Ann Arbor isn't the most brutal game in the world, but Fresno State was ranked for a lot of last year. Okay, then they got Texas, widely considered to be one of the top 4 teams in the entire country. USC. Now, this is a team. Are they going to tackle? Are they going to play defense? Do they do tackling drills? I don't know, but they might score 1,000 points a game. USC is not going to be a gimme as they come into Ann Arbor. Then you got Mr. Row Your Boat, okay, in Minnesota. Then they go to Washington, a team that's lost 20 starters from last year. Okay, but anytime you play in that beautiful Husky Stadium right next to Puget Sound, and Husky faithful get loud. That's one of the top 10 to top 5 loudest stadiums in the country. And they're gonna be out for revenge against Michigan. Just the fact that it's in Husky Stadium makes it a tough game. Then you've got Illinois where the S is silent, Michigan State, Oregon, another widely preseason considered top 4 team, number 3, according to most people. Then you got Indiana, the Hoosier Daddies, Northwestern, and of course, Ohio State on the road at Columbus. Talk to me. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the team that really matters, which is Nebraska. This schedule for Michigan, the amount of people they've lost. Now, Sharon Moore, anytime Harbaugh got suspended, all 79,000 times last year, he was the head coach. Won 2 top 10 games versus Ohio State, Penn State on the road. This is their new head coach, okay? And they promoted from within in a lot of spots. They've been able to replace a lot of the people that left, including their defensive coordinator as well. Also went with Harbaugh to the Chargers. What are your thoughts on Michigan, what they're going to be able to do next year? Are they going to be a top 10 team, a top 15 team, a top 5 team? Can they make the 12 team for a couple of years till it goes to 14 teams, 12 team college football playoff next year?
Well, I think you got to take into when the season finishes, the committee will take into account the schedule that they've had. But as for the team itself, like, it's still Michigan. It's still a big program. They're still going to be able to recruit. Like, Moore is a great head coach. He obviously did things versus Ohio State when Harbaugh was not there. So he knows how to coach in the big game. He can obviously recruit. Like, this is still a big brand. And it's going to be a turning point in the program. Is Moore the guy? Can he stay as a top 25 team, a top 12 team? Can he continue what Harbaugh did? It's going to be a turning point. We don't know. It's a lot of guessing games.
Now, so I think it's rebuilding this year because they've lost so much for Michigan. I don't know that they're necessarily reloading. They don't tend to recruit as highly as an Ohio State. Or, I mean, they recruit well, don't get me wrong. Or as an Ohio State or an Alabama or a Georgia that just reloads year after year. Michigan had built a culture, a physicality. You know, they had built something, and keeping the same, well, not the same head coach, but promoting the head coach from within will help with that continuity. But with so many players leaving, and they had 13 NFL draft picks, the most of any team in the entire country last year. Okay, I wonder if, like, we're going to talk in a minute about how they're preseason 3rd in the Big Ten, and they're a preseason top 10 team, according to some polls. And I'm just like, man, I think it's more about brand recognition than it is actual validity when it comes to their preseason ranking, especially when you take into consideration the difficulty of their schedule. Do you think it's more the brand of Michigan that's got them rated highly and what they've done the past 3 years? Or do you legit believe they can be a top 10 college football playoff type team next year?
Okay, so I think, you look at the New England Patriots this year, and it's a little bit different, but they got a new quarterback, a new head coach, a lot of guys leaving, and they're starting to rebuild. I think Michigan is obviously, in a better spot than what the Patriots are in their respective leagues. But I think Michigan's in that kind of rebuilding thing, like you said. But I still think if you don't put the national champion in your top 10, I think there might be something a little bit wrong with your sport, even though they lost so much. I still think, will they end up in the top 12 this year? Top 10, I don't think so. If I'm being honest, I think they just lost too much. And it's just, I'm looking at these teams and I'm like, man, there's like 3, 4 really good football teams. And then you mentioned the Washington game, even though they're not as talented and they're in the same boat as Michigan, we have to go and play in Husky Stadium, in a loud stadium, in a revenge game. So I just think it's a tough year for Michigan. I think that's all there is to be said about that.
What do you think about a team like Washington? You mentioned Washington. I mean, they've got, let me see here. So I'm looking at the top 15 most difficult schedules going into the 2024 college football season. By the way, there's only one team in this entire top 15 that is not a Big Ten SEC team. They're all 14 of the 15 are Big Ten SEC teams. The only one team, okay, that's not a Big Ten SEC team is Georgia Tech from the ACC. They're going to play 5 preseason top 25 teams. Now, there are 9 Big Ten and SEC teams that are going to play 5 top 20 preseason top 25 college football teams. Georgia Tech, they're representing the rest of America as the only non-Big Ten SEC team to be like that. So Alabama, according to this, has the 15th toughest schedule. Georgia, the 14th toughest schedule. Okay, Michigan's only actually a 13 on this list, which does surprise me a little bit. Kentucky's at 12. Washington is at 11 as the 11th toughest schedule in the country. All right, this is a team that's going to play. They're keeping their in-state rival, Washington State, who is just kind of out in no man's land with Oregon State when it comes to a conference. Okay, but they've also got Michigan, Iowa, USC, Penn State, UCLA, who may not be a typical UCLA team this year, but also at Oregon. But it's the amount of people that they've lost that I think is going to hurt Washington. The 2 teams in the national championship last year both lost over 50% of their returning production. Do you think either one of them can make a run at all this year at not just getting in the college football playoff, but like actually a run at the national championship at all?
I mean, I think Michigan's brand is a bit bigger than Washington. So I feel like this year they're going to have a bit more talent. But I feel like they're in the same exact boat pretty much. And I feel like they're going to be good this year. I feel like maybe like 8, 9, 10 wins, something like that. But I don't feel like a top 15 finish even. I feel like they're going to be sitting both at like in the 20s. They're both good ball clubs, but they got to rebuild this year before they can get back to where they were. It's hard when you're like a high school team and you lose a bunch of seniors. You got to wait a year before those sophomores can become the seniors.
So by the way, as you go down the list, okay, other teams with difficult schedules. Number 10, Wisconsin, boo-hoo, USC, going to have to tackle, I guess. Vanderbilt, why are you still in the SEC? Mississippi State, all right, Georgia Tech at number 6, most difficult schedule in the country. UCLA, welcome to the Big Ten, my friend. South Carolina, Clemson's little brother. Arkansas, Pig Suey. All right, Oklahoma, welcome to the SEC. And the number 1 most difficult schedule in the country, according to 247 Sports, is Florida. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not an easy schedule. Okay, they're going to go in their non-conference to start with. Keep in mind, they're in the SEC. They're going to play in-state rivals, Florida State and Miami. All right, then they're going to play Texas A&M, Mississippi State, another in-state rival in a non-conference, UCF. So even if UCF isn't as great as some of these other teams that they might play, just being an in-state rival instantly makes that game about 5 times harder because UCF's got everything to prove and nothing to lose. Obviously, at Tennessee, they always play them. Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss. I mean, we're talking half a dozen teams that are going to be ranked, if not more. They're 3 biggest in-state rivals in their non-conference slate. I mean, why did they do that to themselves? I think it's great. Personally, I think it's phenomenal. If I'm a Gators fan, I'm questioning my AD's job security at this point. But that looks like a daunting schedule, if you ask me. All right, let's look at Nebraska. Okay, so Nebraska, all right. When it comes to them, what are your thoughts on them being kind of all over now in these preseason top 25 polls? Okay, a team that's not won their first game of the year since 2019, not been to a bowl game since 2016, the only Power 5 team not to do so. All these things we've heard a million times. Okay, 5-7 last year, 5 one-score loss games, the most amount of one-score loss games of any team in the entire country over the last 10 years. wow, I wish I could just delete the last 30 seconds. But it is what it is. The facts don't care about our feelings, including mine. So the person that I showed this on screen on the show yesterday, but there is actually an individual who has Nebraska preseason ranked 14th. Okay. So when it comes to returning production, Nebraska is one of the top 3 in the country, tops in the Big Ten. Okay, 78% returning production on defense, 76% returning production on offense. All right, 19 returning starters. And this individual has Nebraska's roster strength as quarterback. That's a lot of faith in a true freshman, all right? Running back, which is a loaded room when it comes to talent, but we have no decided starter or even top 2 or 3 backs at this point. I'm sure fall camp will figure that out, kind of sort that out, but I'm surprised to see quarterback in here. Man, they got a lot of faith in, I'm surprised to see running back in here. They got a lot of faith in the young quarterbacks as well. Tight end with Fredoni and Berkshire, I understand that. The defensive tackle, defensive line spot, I get that. They say the weaknesses are offensive tackle. Prohaska played better last year. We got to have who's our right tackle? Man, I am blanking. I'm going to look that up real quick. But Prohaska and Turner Corcoran, Bryce Benhart, the right tackle, played a lot better last year. Okay, he's going to set the record for most tackles in Nebraska, most starts by an offensive tackle in Nebraska football history. Prohaska or Corcoran, one of them's got to step up a left tackle. Okay, and then you put linebacker. We just need a linebacker to step up. Okay, Blyhill appears like he's going to be able to play at least at some point in the fall following that scary injury in the spring game. So hopefully cornerback is all right. If need be, Malcolm Hartzog can always fall down from the safety spot, but we need a linebacker to step up. We need offensive tackles to pass protect. Okay. And the offensive line, they got over 150 starts this combined in their careers. 7 guys who've started games, over 150 starts in their careers. Okay, toughest games, Ohio State, USC, probably the 2 toughest games on the schedule. Okay, and he has record preview. The floor is 7-5. Like the worst record they could have this year is 7-5. That's the floor that he has, and the ceiling at 10-2. All right, Jacob, what are your thoughts on Nebraska, a team that has obviously not performed to Husker fans' expectations, delight, whatever you want to say, for quite a while now? What are your thoughts on them post-spring, all of a sudden being on all these preseason top 25 rankings by all these folks out there?
I think there's 2 sides. One, it might be a little bit of Kool-Aid. There's probably a little bit of that. But also, if you look at Rule and all of his jobs outside of Carolina, because that's the NFL, like they were not very good in year 1 in Baylor, at Temple, but year 2 they made a big leap forward. And so this does not surprise me at all. I kind of expected this. Like they did not look bad last year. They almost went 500. They almost made a bowl game. And they looked really good. And in year 2, he's known for being better. So, no, I expect this Nebraska team to take a big leap forward, I think.
So, I don't think I've heard anyone point this out. Now, when Rule got here, I said, and I wasn't the only one, I was one of a bunch of people that said, this roster is not as bad as the roster he inherited when he first got to Baylor and first got to Temple. And so his first years at Baylor and Temple, they won 1 game and 2 games respectively. Then they jumped up to basically 500 teams. So they basically went from 1-5 to 6-6 and 2-4 to 6-6 the next year. Those are giant leaps.
Yeah.
But the roster wasn't as bad. Didn't need to be reconstructed as much from a roster standpoint. So they went 5-7. Can we realistically expect the same type of jump? I mean, when you're so bad in year 1, you almost have nowhere to go but up. Can we realistically expect to go from 1-5 to 6-6? So can we realistically expect to jump from 5-7 to 9-3? We're starting at a higher point, is my point, in the win-loss column with the talent on the roster. Can we realistically in year 2 expect the same type of jump when we didn't start from as low of a point to begin with Coach Rule?
It all depends if he can get the guys to buy in. If they can buy in and believe that they are actually a very good football team, which many people believe that they can be, they're incredibly young. They got a really talented quarterback. If they can just gel together, they got a ton of talent. They can be a threat in the Big Ten. I mean, if I was a Big Ten coach, I'd be looking at Nebraska and thinking, especially early in the season, what am I going to get myself into? Especially if I got to go play there in Lincoln. So I think they're a very dangerous team.
So you make a great point. And you may have already answered my next question with your previous answer, because We've had about the least amount of people transfer. Like, people clearly don't want to go. He's somehow getting people to commit to the quarterback room, which is already young and talented. He's getting guys to commit and creating competition and hopefully depth down the road. The transfer portal is always going to be there for guys who want to go. But it is pretty much proven with the amount of guys that came back last year immediately following the season and the amount of guys who have not left for the most part throughout this offseason. People have bought in. People are excited to what he's doing and what he's doing. They believe in it. My question is, it's the close games. Okay, it's the close games. Nebraska might have been to a bowl game in just about every season, barring the 3-9, 4-8 seasons under Scott Frost. Just about every season since 2016, if we could just win the close games. Are you kind of alluding to the fact that the key to winning close games is that belief and that buy-in that just doesn't seem to have been there in Nebraska football for a while? Like, how are they going to win all these close games? Because we're probably going to be in a bunch of them again this year. How do we get over the hump and win the games?
I think that was lacking a lot. What was lacking with Frost is he couldn't win the close games, and I don't think that the players really believed in what he was doing because it was so different from the rest of the Big Ten. I'm saying if Matt Rule can get these guys to buy in and go that extra 100% with the 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it could make a 3-4 game difference. Who knows? Maybe a bit of a stretch here, but we could be playing in the Big Ten title game in a couple of years. That may be a bit of a stretch, but if he gets these guys to buy in, we could be back to being a powerhouse.
All right. Who has the better long-term future? Now, Michigan fan.
I feel like this is a trick question.
Not a trick question.
Because like
it's a bit of a loaded question, but not a trick
rebuild,
question.
One's trying to go
yes.
up, so it's like, yeah,
that's what I'm
trying
saying.
to put me in a box here.
It's not a trick question, but it is a bit of a loaded question. All right, who has the better long-term future? Michigan, who hired the right guy. Moore was the right guy. I mean, he's won. He was there when Harbaugh built it up. He was the offensive line coach. You want to talk about nitty-gritty as your head coach. This is a program that was built by the strength coach, according to Jim Harbaugh, the former head coach. So Moore is the right guy, okay? But he's not Jim Harbaugh. There's only so many Sabans, Harbaughs, Osbornes, guys like that in history, which is why they stand out so much. Who has the better long-term future? Michigan without Jim Harbaugh or Nebraska with Matt Rule?
I mean, I want to say Michigan, but I just don't see how I can argue for that. I got to say Nebraska. I feel like they're in a more upward trend than Michigan is. If this was like the stock market, Nebraska's stock is going up while Michigan's going a bit down. Even though Michigan did just win the national title, and you guys haven't won since like you were like my age.
You were doing so well. I was about to say I'm raising them right, and then you threw in that last part. All right, so I know Michigan's your favorite team, okay? And we are moving back to Lincoln. People do know that, okay? So my question is, where does Nebraska rank? And my kids are free to do whatever they want. If they want to be Nebraska fans, I couldn't be prouder. If they want to be fans of other teams, I can't stop them from failing, folks. But my question is this. Where does Nebraska rank on your list of favorite teams?
It's a close second. They're literally 1 and 2.
Okay. All right. Close second. All right.
Does that hurt you?
No, I knew Michigan was number 1. I'm not shocked by that. All right, Nebraska's close number 2. I don't even think I've ever asked you that. Like, you kids are free to root for whoever you want, do whatever you want, as long as it's Nebraska based. All right, so let's see. I'll give my thoughts on that. Okay, and we got about a minute. We're going to head out to break here. The long-term future. If you remember Rich Rod, and you remember, was it Brady Hoke, Gary Hoke? I apologize. I'm not that up to speed on Michigan football 8-9 years ago, but Michigan football was down for a while. Okay. And so I don't think the brand of Michigan football is just going to carry them. They've actually only got one legit national title since 1947. No disrespect to that 97 team, which was phenomenal. They were absolutely the second best team in the country to Nebraska that year.
Okay.
I think the difference was not the brand of Michigan, which is a wonderful brand, a great football program, classy football program. Harbaugh was the difference. And Moore might be the right hire, but I think Matt Rule is the man for Nebraska, and I think there's a difference. So I agree with you. And I'm not saying Michigan's going to fall off the face of the earth and Nebraska's going to win 18 national titles. What I'm saying is the future might just be like 5 to 8 years down the road, a little bit brighter for Nebraska than Michigan. So that's all I'm saying.
I agree that Harbaugh is the difference. But if you think about it, in his first years, he did not do well. He did actually so poorly that they about fired him. It was the fact that he switched his scheme and he did what works well for Michigan is why they started winning. If Moore can capture that same thing, again, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle. But if he can do that same thing that Harbaugh figured out, and I guarantee you Harbaugh was probably talking with him because he was literally right there in his office every day of the week. If he can just figure that out, Michigan won't go anywhere. They'll be fine. So Harbaugh was the difference, but it's what he figured out that made more of a difference than Harbaugh the person.
So I will agree when it comes to the scheme thing because, first of all, it was asinine that they ever thought about firing Harbaugh. If you think about what he did, they won 9 games. They went to New Year's 6 bowl games, and they were talking about firing him. It's kind of like after the 1990 season and Nebraska lost soundly to co-national champion Georgia Tech in the Citrus Bowl. Osborne gathered the coach. It was like, guys, we might need to start looking for jobs. They're going to fire us. That's a story Osborne has told me. So it was kind of similar to that. It was just as asinine in 1990 as what Michigan folks were talking about. Because, and here's the thing that Harbaugh did, because I played against his Niners teams. They were 3-13, either a year or two before he got there. All of a sudden, they were playing in the NFC Championship game, and by his 3rd year, they were in the Super Bowl, and he was playing against his brother John from the Ravens. And if you remember that Super Bowl, the lights went out in the middle of the Super Bowl. It was in a dome. They were not doing what he did at Stanford. They were not doing at Michigan what he did at Stanford or what he did at the Niners. What he did was he put 92 tight ends on the field, and 90 of those tight ends were offensive linemen, and he ran power right, power left, power right, power left, counter, play action pass. By the way, I've got Andrew Luck at Stanford, so that helps. And then the read option with Colin Kaepernick at the time was enough of a changeup to throw defenses for a loop, and then Alex Smith could come in because he was a starting quarterback at the Niners then. They weren't uber talented. What they were was brutal to play against. It was double team after double team after double team after double team. I'm as physical and smash mouth a person as you're going to find. I can't say that I particularly enjoyed that. And they would just wear you out and out fundamental you and out physical you. And he didn't do that at the beginning of Michigan. He didn't even do that, year 3, 4, and 5 at Michigan. It wasn't until he said, I'm going to do what I want to do with the brand of Michigan and recruit better athletes because I can with the brand of Michigan behind me, they finally started to turn the corner and then never look back. Yeah. So I agree with you on that. We went over on that segment. But when Jacob's dropping knowledge, far be it from me to interrupt the knowledge dropper. All right.
Tell that to my teachers.
Oh, boy. That's a whole nother can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. When we come back, Adam Carriker is going to talk NBA basketball. And my son's going to join me. We're going to have a little bit of fun, even talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. Can you buy championships in baseball? Can you buy championships in the transfer portal in college football? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Ironhide Construction is a Nebraska-based general contracting and steel construction firm. Their expert team is experienced in building innovative construction solutions across several industries. While they were previously known for their extensive experience in steel erection and metal buildings, they've continued to evolve over the last several years into a full-service general contracting firm. They take pride in their commitment to quality, cutting-edge technology, and having a passion for what they do. For more information about their services or to discuss an upcoming project, visit www.ironhideconstruction.com or call 402-420-4961.
I'm Dave Austed.
And I'm Ryan Austed.
I think my first memory of golf is playing with my dad at a par 3 course. It was an absolute blast, and he always would have an ice cream hole. So if I got an 8 or less, we'd be going for ice cream.
My first memory of golf really focused on driving the golf cart, being able to drive that cart.
You were a crazy driver.
I was a crazy driver, but it was what I look forward to. And what's really funny now, when I take my kids out play golf, that is the one thing, along with the snack bar, that they are most excited about.
Focus on the good stuff. Play better, have fun, and shop Austed's.
Join us this Friday, May 24th for Old School, live from 4 to 6 p.m. for the brand new rooftop at Beer House at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. We're helping unveil their new 40 Torches beer in honor of the 40th year of the Cornhusker State Games. Don't miss it. Old School, this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Beer House.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. Chance of showers and storms expected throughout the day. It'll be windy too, with an afternoon high around 77. Tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, with a low around 50. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies return with lighter winds and a high around 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Cluck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the perfect place to watch your favorite MLB teams this spring and summer, as well as Nebraska baseball. Enjoy Tanner's delicious hamburgers, chicken lips, and daily specials, and wash it down with one of their tons of options of beers. You'll never have an issue finding the game, as there are TVs everywhere throughout the space. So get in early and grab your spot and settle in for an afternoon or evening of baseball at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Scissors and Scotch has opened their Lincoln location at 30th and Yankee Hill. Don't settle for an ordinary haircut. Go above and beyond at Scissors and Scotch. Scissors and Scotch provides your classic haircut service with optional membership discounts. From now until June 6th, Scissors and Scotch is offering the Founders Reserve Special for those who want massive savings. Learn more or book your appointment by visiting scissorsandscotch.com or check out Scissors and Scotch's brand new location at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Highball Bar in downtown Lincoln is open and located just north of 11th and O Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Tito's on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Do you love turning wrenches? Are you looking for a new career path? Acres Equipment has the opportunity for you. The Acres Fast Track program trains you to become a John Deere certified technician in just 12 months. In the Fast Track program, you'll earn full-time wages along with incredible benefits, free tools in a toolbox, plus free comprehensive health insurance and an awesome retirement plan. Visit acres.com/careers to learn more about this exciting opportunity. Hurry, space is limited, so apply today and fast track your career. Acres is an equal opportunity employer.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Carriker Chronicles, a special edition here on 93.7 The Ticket, just for 93.7 The Ticket. I'm joined by my special edition co-host who's playing hooky from school today, Mr. Jacob Carriker, my son. How you doing, Jacob?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So wait, do you have school tomorrow?
Nope. It's summer break.
This is My wife is on top of everything. I'm on top of about a third of things. So you're done with school.
Yeah.
That just dawned on me.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. All right. That's all right. That's pretty cool. So, how are your grades?
They're good.
What are they?
A's and B's.
All of them?
Most of them.
All right. Just making sure. I am pretty on top of his grades, actually. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always,
Annoying.
what'd you say?
It's not annoying at all.
Good. You're welcome. All right. You can check out DPS Construction at dpsconstruction.net. They are your local concrete experts, especially for those located in the Omaha metro area. If this is the type of work you do, look for a great employer in Jason Armstrong, DPS Construction. If this is the type of work you like to have done, construction work, dpsconstruction.net does a phenomenal job. Also, Bonzel Pool and Spas, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bonzel's, they are putting in my family's pool this summer. You excited to have a pool?
I'm excited. That's going to be cool.
I'm excited as well. All right, Bonzel Pool and Spa, swimming pools, hot tubs, and saunas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit. So the Nuggets. I want to talk about the Nuggets because the defending champs go down. Game 7 the other night at home. I'm going to call it an upset to the Milwaukee Bucks. And what are your thoughts?
It was the Timberwolves.
What'd I say?
It was Minnesota.
Minnesota Timberwolves. I apologize. I knew it. All right, they're both green. They're up north. I knew what I meant.
One of them's purple.
There's some green in there. Shush.
What are you talking about?
I watched the game. I know what I'm talking about. All right. So the Denver Nuggets go down at home. The defending champs, the reigning NBA MVP, reigning NBA Finals MVP. Okay. They can't get it done. What are your thoughts? Because the Nuggets were favored. They won 57 regular season games this year, which is the most in franchise history. Okay, what are your thoughts on them going down at home, being upset Game 7, a team that was definitely favored to win this series? Now, they were down 0-2 to begin with in the series, battled back, okay, made it 2-2, and obviously it went to 7 games. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think after they started out 0-2 against the T-Wolves, I've heard Coach Malone, he was talking about how every big head was saying how they didn't have a chance, the Timberwolves are better, and then he was real proud of his guys for fighting back and making the series 2-2, and then anything can happen in a Game 7. And that was just unfortunate, especially when I think they went in a half with a double-digit lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was 13 points.
Yeah, so it's tough, man. I guess they just ran out of steam.
You're defending champs. You got the reigning MVP, Finals MVP. You're up by 13 at home, Game 7, and you can't find a way. That's tough. Okay, so Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who would you take if you're building a team and you had to pick between the two?
It's hard to judge Jokic because he looks so unimpressive out there, but yet he drops 40 a game. But with Giannis, he's about as impressive as an athlete as you can have, like 7 feet, moves like a guard. The only thing about him is he can't really shoot all that well, but that's because he's 7 feet tall. I'd rather have Giannis. And Giannis is a bit younger, too. I want to say by 1 or 2 years. So I think I'd rather have Giannis. I just think the Bucks aren't as good as the Nuggets, which is why Giannis isn't up there as much.
So he has won a championship with the Bucks a couple of years ago. Okay, so you look at Giannis, 6'11", 243. You look at Nikola, okay, and he is 6'11", 284. Now, you look at him, right, obviously 2 of the best basketball players on planet Earth. And we can maybe debate this in a second. I actually think they are the 2 best basketball players on planet Earth.
Oh, them fighting words.
No disrespect to a guy named James, first name LeBron. No disrespect to Curry, Steph, or anyone else you want to throw out there. I think they're the 2 best. So here's the deal. They do look differently. Giannis is one of the most impressive, just physical specimens you'll ever see. Okay. 6'11", 243. Like I said, Jokic is 6'11", 284. So if you want more of a physical, down-low presence, someone who's going to play harder, I'm just going to say it. Jokic could dribble, dunk, and slam circles around me and in my face. But the guy looks lazy out there. Okay? There's times when I wonder if he even loves basketball. I remember when they won the championship last year at the press conference, he found out that there was going to be a championship parade, and he didn't want to go. He just wanted to get out. And I was like, wow, okay. But, I'm not criticizing. I'm offering an observation. Okay. Personally, saying all of that, if you want a more down-low presence, it'd be Giannis. A more physical presence, somebody who maybe plays harder. Okay. I would personally take Jokic because he gives you that shooting, the outside shot. He can make it down low. He can shoot outside. He can spread the defense. He can be a big man. He can play, he can spread that defense out. Giannis, it's been proven in the past, if you take away his ability to go to the rim, he has a hard time scoring. Now, it's hard to take that ability away from him because he's so good at it, but he's much more one-dimensional, in my opinion, when it comes to his offensive game. Now, when it comes to defense and rebounding, he's probably more well-rounded than Jokic, so that's why it's kind of a toss-up, and I may be just talking myself into Giannis, just because I love the effort maybe a little bit more. I'm not calling Jokic lazy. He certainly looks different when he's playing than Giannis looks from an effort standpoint when he's playing. But who would you take? Or did you already answer that?
I said I would take Antetokounmpo. One is probably just for the name.
Oh my gosh!
I just love to just say that name.
Fun to say.
Yeah, but you watch Jokic, and it's like when you have a guy that's 7 feet tall, basically, I would really like him to play physical and just to be that smash mouth type, like 90s basketball, and that's exactly what Giannis is. He's a physical freak. He's impossible to stop at times. With Jokic, it's pretty much like he's just so big, he's going to back you down and just shoot it, and then he can shoot it from all over the floor. But I feel like that's more for what guards are, and I feel like it's just I'd just rather have Giannis. I just feel like it's more of a center type build, and I feel like it's more impossible to stop.
When you're comparing the two, Jokic, NBA champ, NBA Finals MVP, 3-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 21, 22, 24, 6-time NBA All-Star, 3-time All-NBA First Team. When you look at Giannis, you got an NBA champion, 2021 NBA Finals MVP that same year, 2-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 8-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First. I mean, you're really splitting hairs. It's really what you need. Do you need, what's the rest of the team look like? Do you got a bunch of shooters? Then take Giannis, because then you got the presence down low. You don't got a bunch of shooters, you need to spread the court, then you take Jokic, who's going to help you do that. So you're really splitting hairs. Who do you think is the best NBA basketball player on planet Earth today? Not all time. Not all time. I'm talking right here, right now. You're building a team. You got the number 1 overall pick. You can pick anyone on planet Earth. Who you taking?
Oh, man. That's a big pick, man.
That is correct. It's the number 1 overall pick for planet Earth. But go ahead.
LeBron, I feel like he's still really good, but he's too old to take something like that. I feel like Giannis, he's still a bit younger.
Okay. So let's take the future out of it. It's for 1 year.
Oh, just for 1 year?
So you're just thinking about it's the best player right now on planet Earth at this moment in time for one year. You're building a team for 1 year, not the future.
I still gotta say it's Giannis.
You go with Giannis?
I think LeBron's top 3, but I mean, I don't want to get jumped or something for that, but still.
I don't think you're going to get jumped here in Nebraska for that. That's okay. I'm sure there's some NBA fans. I don't know if they're quite as passionate as Husker fans, but that's okay. To me, we just talked about the two guys I'd be debating between. Steph Curry, still a great player. I don't know that he's still in his prime. You look at LeBron. I mean, what was this season number 21 for him? He's going 40, into.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great, I'd say very good player. He played great at times, but it's been forever since he's even been to the finals. Okay, and I know he went to the finals like 90,000 years in a row with the Cavs, but the Eastern Conference was awful back then.
Last year was 2020 in the bubble.
So he won a championship in the bubble, and some people want to discredit him for that. Okay, the Heat, they built that super team. And so I have a hard time giving those championships the same amount of credit as I do. Like his championship in Cleveland, to me, that championship and what he did and coming down from 3-1 versus a 73-win Golden State team that year, the most amount of regular season wins in NBA history, outdoing the 96 Bulls, who had held the record with 72 wins, although they won the NBA Finals championship that year, coming back and leading that team to a win. And it was him and Kyrie. It wasn't just him, okay? But to me, that one championship means as much as the other three combined just because of some of the outlier facts. This is dude who's 4-time NBA champ. I'm a 0-time NBA step on the court guy. So I get it, okay? But I still am allowed to have my opinion. If people who come to my house and do work around my house want to criticize my show, okay, more power to you, but I'm allowed to have my opinion on LeBron James. So LeBron, one of the greatest of all time, but to me it's between Antetokounmpo and Jokic. And since I don't have a rest of the team to say, hey, we need a shooter, let's go Jokic.
What if they played one-on-one? Who's winning? One-on-one.
I'm going with Antetokounmpo. If it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because he plays better defense, and I think the defense would be the difference. I don't think Jokic wants to play defense. Antetokounmpo will, even though Jokic has got him by 40 pounds. Okay, 284 to 243. one-on-one, I'm going Giannis, but I don't have a rest of the team to know I need a presence down low, so I go Giannis. Or I don't have a bunch of shooters, so I need Jokic. I'm picking a guy and then building a team around him.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing that, I'm going to go with the guy. I mean, my gosh, they're the two best on planet Earth, in my opinion. We are splitting the hair that we just split a minute ago. Like, we're splitting hairs multiple times here. I'm going to go with Giannis just because I like his effort more. I'm a big effort guy.
Plus, I like my centers to have a bit more of that physical mentality. I like the guards to more take the shots.
Presence and mindset. I like that. All right, we got about a minute left here to go. So not a whole lot of time. We might run over on this segment again. All right, here are my top 10 and greatest NBA players, of all time. And we might have to come back and chat about this after commercial. Number 1, I've got Jordan. How in the world Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not listed towards the top of NBA greatest players of all time list, like 1, 2, or 3 more often, is beyond me. I've got him number 2. Number 3, I got Magic, 5-time NBA champ. Okay, you got Kobe, 5-time NBA champ. And really the thing that lifted him was the 5th championship, the one he won without Shaq. That elevated him to another stratosphere, and he was already in another stratosphere. There's just another stratosphere above the stratosphere, and that's what elevated him in my mind. So I got him 4th. I got LeBron 5th.
I think Kobe's 80 points too.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Crazy.
So LeBron, one of the top 5 greatest NBA players of all time. If he would quit telling people how great he is, maybe I would move him up because of that. I'm just sick and tired of him telling people how great he is. Oh, my gosh. Bill Russell, 11 NBA championships. Championships got to mean something here. 11. Think about that. Okay. Now, if we're just going purely by championships, Robert Horry would be in this list because he's got 7. Robert's phenomenal, but he's not one of the top 10, in my opinion, greatest players of all time. Larry Bird, number 7. Wilt Chamberlain. The championships, the lack thereof, hurt him, but his stats are ridiculous. 100 points in a game, averaging what he averaged when it came to rebounds and points, just ridiculous. All right, so he's number 8. I got Shaq number 9. So Shaq, okay, 1-3 with Kobe. Now, I thought this was interesting. 2000, 2001, 2002. He was the NBA Finals MVP for all 3 of those championship teams with Kobe, not Kobe.
Really?
I thought that was interesting.
That is.
He won a 4th NBA title with Dwayne Wade in the Miami Heat. 7'1", 325 pounds, played in 1,207 games, 19 years. Okay, this is a guy that, if he could shoot free throws, he might be the greatest NBA player of all time. But even without being able to shoot free throws, I got him number 9. And then the big fundamental. The only reason this guy isn't talked about more is he's boring to watch. I don't care. He's widely regarded as the greatest power forward in the history of NBA basketball. So how can he not be one of the top 10 NBA players of all time, a 5-time NBA champion, Mr. Tim Duncan? All right, so here's my list. You tell me where I'm wrong. And you can also tell me if I'm 100% right, because I'm okay with that if that's your thought process. What would you change on my top 10 list?
Man, I feel like LeBron's got to be 2. I feel like the rest of that just slides down.
So Jordan 1, LeBron 2.
And I feel like the rest of that is pretty much perfect. Me, I probably would put Kobe above Magic. I feel like just Kobe was just even though Magic was 6'9" and a point guard's crazy, but I feel like Kobe was just a better basketball player.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, LeBron, he's 40 years old and he looks like a Greek god. Like, he's absolutely ripped and he still moves and he's middle-aged, and that's just crazy to me. He's pretty much the Tom Brady of basketball, just with his age and everything. Yeah, I'd put him.
The argument to be made for that. Okay.
I'd put Jordan 1, LeBron 2, probably Kareem 3, Kobe 4, Magic 5, and the rest of that I'd keep the same.
Okay. All right. So let me point one thing out to you. Who'd you say was a better all-around basketball player, Kobe than Magic?
I think so.
Okay. And again, we're splitting hairs again. One thing I would point out to you, because I know Magic was before your time. Like, he retired well before you were born.
Well, so was Kobe.
Well, that is true, too. But Magic was like another, even, I think, 10 years before that. So Magic was a 6'9" point guard. He could pass, he could shoot, he could dribble, and he even started games as a center when they were short on centers. He's a guy who could literally play any position.
But the thing with Kobe is his worth ethic and all that, and the leader he was in the locker room. I think that sets him above whatever Magic had. And I don't know what Magic did in the locker room, but I feel like that sets Kobe above. And like the 80-point game, all the records, I feel like Kobe's just a little bit above Magic. And we're splitting hairs here. Both 2 all-time Lakers, but still, I think it's Kobe.
Yeah, way too many freaking Lakers on this list.
Also Celtics, too.
Well,
Russell.
now we know why
Yeah.
they met in the NBA Finals for like 80,000 consecutive years. Facts are optional on this show. I just throw out numbers. Anybody who knows
Same thing
me,
with the Warriors and Cavs.
well, that's true. Anybody who knows me knows that I come over prepared and I just like to have fun in the process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a whole lot of fun. You going to stick around for our last segment?
I think I will.
Okay.
I have school to go to, so.
You got a whole summer off. You're going to sit on your lazy butt. Actually, he's going to be working out, getting ready for football season. He's on a majors traveling competitive baseball team. He's definitely not sitting on his butt doing nothing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to pay some bills. Jacob and I will be right back.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. Chance of showers and storms expected throughout the day. It'll be windy too, with an afternoon high around 77. Tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, low around 50. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies return with lighter winds and a high around 77. I'm meteorologist Kyle Buck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Do you love turning wrenches? Are you looking for a new career path? Acres Equipment has the opportunity for you. The Acres Fast Track program trains you to become a John Deere certified technician in just 12 months. In the Fast Track program, you'll earn full-time wages along with incredible benefits, free tools in a toolbox, plus free comprehensive health insurance and an awesome retirement